A warm welcome today to all who are participating in this virtual event. Good morning. Members and friends of the University Women's Club, I'm Janet Brewer, current president of the club. I've been a member since 2012 and have been on the board for 7 years in various capacities, including a previous term as president. I do not need to describe to you how different this year is from any prior year I have experienced. We are all living in a new normal, have been for several months now, and your board and I have been challenged to keep this organization viable while facing numerous disruptions and uncertainties. I would like to introduce to you this year's board members. We will be looking at a screenshot that was taken at a recent board meeting. And I'm going to start in the top left-hand corner and read from left to right, and then from up to down. The first picture is of me, Janet Brewer, president. Then we have Mary Bullock, past president and editor of messages. Karen Bell, secretary and secretary-elect. Kathleen Peterson, Margaret Willard Award chair. Kathy Herder, treasurer and treasurer-elect. Tamara Van Spreel, president-elect and honors reception chair. Lorna Yoder, repository and email monitor. Frida Holly, advisory and parliamentarian. Marge Riddle, scholarship chair. Barry Todd, email blasts and directory. Lynn Burnett, event registrar. Sandy Johnson, opera brunch chair. Norma Portnoy, program chair. Sharon Needles, co-program chair. Arlene Gerwin, nominations chair. Kathy Terrell, new member chair. Mary Pierce, scholarship luncheon chair. Helen Hooper, interest group chair. Karen Neff, membership chair. Betty Huff, communications. Joyce Spencer, webmaster. And at this moment, we have one position vacant, which is for historian and yearbook. Seems ironic in this historic year that we're missing a historian at this time. I now want to introduce Mary Bullock, past president, current editor of Messages, our newsletter, and facilitator of the technology, making today's meeting possible. Mary.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited that we can all be together for our first large UWC event and that we can all be together here online. Many of you are probably familiar with the webinar format, but for those who are not, I would like to just mention two things. One is that during this webinar, you can interact with the speakers by asking questions. Your screen looks something like what's in the circle, with controls on the bottom if you're on a computer, on the top if you're on an iPad, and you probably have to swipe to see them if you're on a phone. You can do a couple of things that we wanted to mention. First of all, you can ask questions of the speakers by clicking on the QA box. When you do that, a screen will pop up and you can type your question at the bottom. Throughout our meeting today, Lynn Barnett will be moderating these questions and monitoring what you ask, and at the end she will come back and moderate questions and answers with everybody who you will see today. The second thing that you can do is you can change the size of the speaker box. When you're looking now, the speakers are in little boxes on your screen. You can change that size by clicking on a little icon, the arrow is pointing to it, that is between the speaker box and the graphics on the left. And if you move that arrow with your cursor, you can change the relative size. So we're really excited. We hope that you enjoy what you're going to see today and that you ask lots of questions. Janet, over to you.
Thank you. I'm going to go over what the program for today will entail. We're going to hear about scholarships, UWC activities, the Margaret Willard Award, have a membership pep talk, and then our questions and farewell. A central purpose of the University Women's Club is to provide scholarships for non-traditional CU students. And our ability to do this rests entirely on the generosity of our members. I would like to introduce our scholarship chair, Marge Riddle, who will speak further about this project. Hi, Marge.
2020, what a year. One that will not soon be forgotten, and one that for most of us has been filled with ending how we have been doing many things, but also with learning how to do some things differently. This meeting, of course, is a new way of welcoming back our returning members and saying hello and welcome to our new members. As scholarship chair, I want to take this opportunity to remind returning members and let new members know about one thing that has not changed around here. And that is that one of UWC's most important missions is to serve the university by providing scholarships to non-traditional students, or at least 24 years old, whose college educations have been interrupted. These are students who, through hard work and determination, have typically overcome very significant hardships to pursue their dreams, which in so many cases also include providing a hand up to others. And our scholarships are so important to allowing them to do this. We usually hear these amazing stories from them in person at our spring scholarship luncheon, which had to be canceled last spring. However, this year, our scholarship recipients prepared videos so you could get a real feel of the life-changing importance of your donations. And you can access these on our website. And in moments, you will get to see one right here. But before we get to that, I want to remind members that it is just through your generosity that these heartwarming stories can continue. Some of you may even have a little extra left over in your travel or dining out budgets. I certainly do. And maybe join me if you can in adding just a little bit of that to your scholarship donation. We have made it really easy to donate. Go to the website, and in the scholarship section, it can be done with a click of a button. And of course, you can also mail them in with directions that are also on the website. And now let's meet, if only virtually, one of our recipients from last spring.
Hello, my name's Debbie Bates, and I am thanking the University Women's Club for selecting me for the scholarship. I feel very grateful to all of you for selecting me. I am a studio arts major here at CU, and I plan on getting my bachelor's in art practices in May of 2021 and go on to grad school to become an art therapist. It's a 2-year program for your master's, and what I'd like to do is become an art therapist at a children's hospital for childhood cancer. My son Ryan Michael Bates, passed away when he was just 16 years old, and I would really like to give back in that realm. There's so many things that need to be done. There are parents that are divorcing. The divorce rate for childhood cancer kids is about 95 to 98%. When they should be coming together, they kind of fall apart. They're in shell shock and then find financial and emotional stress, and sometimes tend to lose their homes along with that. So everything kind of crumbles. It's kind of not a great situation. Also, I'd like to help in the area of siblings that are ignored while a cancer child is being helped. So that's kind of my long-term goal. I'd love to help in that area. I'm very familiar since I went through it, and I know what works and what doesn't, and I just really want to help other families come together. Again, I'd really like to thank the University Women's Club for selecting me for this scholarship. I am in dire need of help as far as financial. Since I've came to Boulder, I've given up pretty much everything. My car, my career, and everything, just to focus on school. I got a student job that, since we have this new coronavirus thing, my student job has now been suspended until August. So kind of out of work right now, but still doing classes online for the next 5 weeks after spring break. So hopefully to get through this semester well and move on to the fall. And hopefully the fall will be a much brighter picture for everybody. But again, I just really wanted to thank you. I'm so sorry because of this virus that you guys had to cancel your luncheon. It was certainly a pleasure meeting Sydney. She has such a lovely spirit and soul, and it was just such a pleasure to meet her. But anyways, I just really wanted to thank all of you once again. It means a lot to me to be able to come back at an older age to go back to college and be a non-traditional student and actually learn some new things and new technology and be a better person for it. And with your help, I'm able to help others in the future. So once again, thank you so much. I truly appreciate everything and all of your help. Thank you once again. Goodbye.
I know we all want to thank Marge and Debbie for this presentation. And next, Sharon Niels, co-chair of programming, will describe the 5 webinars being offered this year in lieu of our traditional lecture luncheons. Sharon.
Hi. One of the things that the University Women's Club does is have a monthly lecture luncheon, which this year is going to have to be virtual since we all can't get together because of the pandemic. But we will have a free webinar every month this year. The first one is on October 13th at 11 a.m. with Jack Hanley. It's entitled How to Watch a Documentary. Jack Hanley is an academic, critic, podcaster, and filmmaker based in Boulder. He currently helms the award-winning film website Mile High Cinema and co-hosts the Superlatives Film Podcast. In his How to Watch a Documentary lecture, Jack will discuss the history of documentaries and their common elements, as well as where to study documentary filmmaking and how docs are funded. He will examine examples of films that were creating public awareness and literally changed the world. Finally, he'll share a syllabus of recommended documentaries along with how to access them. In November, on the 10th, we will have a webinar with Katie Kramer from the CEO and president of the Betcher Foundation. We will present her with UWC's 2020 Margaret Willard Award. And this is for her noteworthy contributions to her field, whose contributions ultimately benefit our community. Katie has been recognized as one of Denver Business Journal's 40 Under 40 and Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce's top 25 most powerful women. After that, Katie will then talk about transformational impact of leadership, the Betcher Foundation's current strategies, and investment in the potential of Coloradoans, and the influences that inspired her during her professional journey. In January, Brett Mitchell will talk about conducting business, lessons from the podium. Conductor Mitchell has served as the music director of the Colorado Symphony since July 2017. Brett will share his journey in music and the lessons in leadership that he learned along the way. You'll hear about his fascinating history leading to his appointment as music director of a major symphony orchestra at the age of only 37. Brett will also discuss the Colorado Symphony's unique business model and its day-to-day workings. In February, we will hear from Bill Storr, Your Brain on Art. Bill is a Boulder artist who is also studying neuroscience as a way to enhance his artwork. He's involved in exploring the emerging field of neuroaesthetics, which suggests that science and art are different sides of the same coin, and inspecting both sides can lead to a more comprehensive understanding of the human brain. Bill's lecture will focus on how the brain processes, responds to, and creates art. Our brain's response to art is a window on the way we perceive the world. The brain filters, distorts, and suppresses different aspects of what we see. A greater understanding of the brain's response to art can lead to improvement in education and medicine, helping to rehabilitate brains after a stroke or a debilitating disease. Bill will also discuss his own creative process in which he creates ambiguity with abstraction, so viewers can create their own reality by completing the image, thereby creating a narrative based on their own emotions. Finally, in March, we'll have an anti-scamming webinar. Christian Gardner-Wood and Elizabeth Parker from the Boulder County District Attorney's Office will be our speakers. Scammers are becoming increasingly sophisticated in their attempts to get a hold of our money and personal information. In this presentation, you will learn more about the frequent scams targeting our community members, and we'll be highlighting the latest scams related to COVID-19. They will present ways to recognize and avoid these fraud attempts, whether they're coming by way of phone calls, text messages, or even people showing up at your door. They will also talk about identity theft and how to keep your personal and financial information safe. Walk away from this lecture knowing more about how to protect your money and information on the phone, online, and in person in this increasingly technological age. There's a little bit of something for everybody in these webinars: film, business, music, art. We hope you'll join us. Again, the webinars are free, and you can go to the UWC website to get more information about each of the lectures. We'll hope you join us.
Thank you, Sharon. Now our interest group chair, Helen Hooper, will describe how our interest groups are adapting to the new normal. She will introduce some of the leaders of these groups who will comment further. Go ahead, Helen.
Thank you, Janet. Hello, everyone. Although the pandemic has changed how many of the interest groups meet, many of them are still meeting. There are, most of them are meeting on Zoom. There are a few who are meeting in person. 6 of the groups are full and they're not taking new members at this time. 8, sadly, have decided to go on hiatus until they can meet again in person. But there are still 12 groups that are actively seeking new members. They are the Thursday Bicycling Group. That group is meeting in person, although socially distanced. The book group that reads biographies, another book group that meets in the evening. The gardening group, which is meeting in person, but I think they only meet through October. The golfing group, which is also meeting in person. The Italian conversation group meeting on Zoom. On the road again, doing virtual road trips. Out to lunch, that perhaps we should be calling at home to lunch at this time. Readers Theater 2, Advanced Spanish Conversation, and Spanish Learners for Beginners and Intermediates, and finally, Sunday Afternoon at the Movies. Joining an interest group isn't quite as easy as it used to be, but it's still pretty easy. There's 4 ways to join a group. First, you can go to the UWC website and look at interest groups, and there's a link to a sign-up sheet, and it's that easy. Secondly, you can look at the September messages. There's an article in there about interest groups, and you can, there's a link to the sign-up sheet in the article. Below the article, there is a list of interest groups and a link that will take you to another list that includes email addresses and telephone numbers for the group leaders. You can click on the email address of a group leader and it will open an email for you. You can send them the email. Sometimes that doesn't work. If the security on your computer is set too high, and mine is, that won't work, in which case you can copy and paste that email address into your email. Or there is the final way, which is the old-fashioned way. Get on the phone and call the group leaders and they can give you information and they'd be happy to hear from you. Because we didn't get to meet in person today where you go around and talk to people about the groups, we have 4 group leaders here who are each going to tell you about their groups. The first one is Kathy Randall, and she's going to talk about On the Road Again and Readers Theater 2. Hi, Kathy.
Hello. We're on the road again, not, or perhaps we're off the road again, but we are meeting via Zoom. In May, by way of beautiful photographs, we visited a special place in each of our national parks. The visits were done at each participant's convenience, and then we all met together for a discussion of interesting facts about the parks we've actually visited in the past, and those we want to visit after seeing the photos. In June, we watched a Senior Planet program with the moderator interviewing and showing the work of several Colorado artists. Then we got together, again via Zoom, and talked about what we'd seen. We'll have more interesting virtual trips on the road starting in the fall. By signing up for this interest group, you're not committing to anything. I send information about each event in advance, and you sign up if you would like to participate. When we're actually on the road, there are often limits on the number of members we can accommodate, but the beauty of Zoom breakout rooms is that we can accommodate everybody. Now, some of you know I am the queen of interest groups. I'm in a lot of them, and I chair a couple. Readers Theater 2, I chair with Patty Ludke. When we meet in person, we meet at 6:30 on the 3rd Monday at a meeting room at the residence of some of our members. Since the pandemic, we've still been meeting on the 3rd Monday, but at 4 o'clock and via Zoom. We socialize a little while, hear some background about the play we're going to read, and then take roles and read the play aloud. There's one big advantage to meeting via Zoom. We can read plays with fewer characters because we can divide the group into breakout rooms. When we do that, more readers get bigger parts. And that's great because all of us enjoy reading. We do not have rehearsals, and since we've been on Zoom, we've had a chance to pre-read the play if we want to. After the reading, we discuss the play. We read a full-length play over a couple of meetings, or we read shorter works, a one-act play, or several very short plays. Everybody gets a turn being a reader and being an audience member. Some months, each person's part may be smaller or larger, but we're all good sports about it and have a good time getting together and reading, regardless of experience or skill.
Thank you, Kathy. Next, we'll hear from Jane Jacoin.
Hola. Me llamo Jane Chapoin. Carol Check and I are co-chairs of beginning and intermediate Spanish. We're meeting by Zoom, and we have an instructor who is a native speaker and has been trained by the Spanish Institute. So if you're interested in learning Spanish or improving your Spanish, this is one of the ways to go. Class activities include direct instruction in vocabulary, grammar, there's conversation, we read, we write. And in the beginning intermediate group is using a workbook. The advanced intermediate group is reading books in Spanish, which is can be really difficult and but fun. First we read Like Water for Chocolate, which was very difficult, but oh, she's such a good writer. Then we read The Little Prince, and now we're reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which is really fun. We have small groups, and we would really love to include some of you. We've become good friends and learned a lot. If those aren't enough options for you, there's also an advanced Spanish speakers group that meets twice a month. The next meeting is September 24th at 4 o'clock. It will be a socially distanced outdoor event with a conversation with the group and a native speaker. You can contact Diana King if you're interested in trying that group out. So we hope to hear from some of you, and gracias and adios.
Thank you, Jane. Kathleen Peterson will speak next, and she's going to talk about Sunday afternoon at the movies.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to have you here, even in Zoom form. Obviously, Sunday afternoon at the movies has changed a lot during this pandemic. So we're not actually going to movies anymore, but what we're looking at, the movies were held the second Sunday of the month, and we would all gather, go to the movie, and then go out for something to eat and conversation about the movie. Well, that's changed. So we're looking right now, we've kind of put it on hiatus, but in October, we will probably be back online and look at, one of the things we're looking at is selecting a movie, such as one on Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus or something like that. And then we can each go to the movie and then get together at the second Sunday of the month and talk about our response to the movies that we saw. So there's plenty of room and plenty of time to join us, and you'll be hearing more about it in October. We look forward to seeing all of you in October at Sunday afternoon at the movies. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. And our last speaker is Jyotsna Raj, who's going to tell you about Out to Lunch.
Hi, I'm Jyotsna Raj, and together with my friend Jean Rohrschneider, we organize what I feel is the most fun group in the UWC. It's called Out to Lunch, and that is pretty much what we do. We go out to lunch to various area restaurants and even venture further afield into neighboring communities, even occasionally to Denver. Interesting restaurants there. As you can imagine, we have not been able to do this in person from the beginning of this year. But thanks to Jean, we do meet virtually via Zoom on the fourth Wednesday of each month, usually about 12 noon. And sometimes we have our lunch while we are speaking to each other. We meet to talk about our favorite foods, cuisines, and restaurants. And the conversations are always very interesting. Our group had many members who were new to the UWC and often new to Boulder. This is a good way to make friends and learn about the community. When we were meeting in person, in fact, the group had become so popular that we were thinking of maybe even dividing it into two, because we used to have 18 people show up sometimes to a restaurant. But we didn't do it because we all like each other and we didn't want to miss each other. So do join us via Zoom if this seems appealing to you. We continue to discuss. When we met in person, we would ask a question of the group. What is your favorite comfort food was a question we asked last time on Zoom. And this brings forth a lot of memories, a lot of good ideas, a lot of experiences that get us to know each other much better. A very friendly and active group. And I just hope and pray that pretty soon we will truly be going out to lunch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Josna. And thank you everybody for listening and watching our presentation about interest groups. And now we go back to Janet.
The resilience of our organization is evident in the introduction of a brand new activity, which was thought up as a response to COVID-19. I'd like to ask Kathy Randall to come back and speak about this new activity and her newfound role as UWC's Zoom czar. Kathy.
Yes. So this is fun. A new UWC social activity that, as Janet said, it's arisen from the COVID-19 isolation. But it really is fun. We offer Zoom get-togethers for anyone who wants to attend, at which we have a conversation based on a particular topic. Here's how it works. An email is sent to all UWC members with the topics for the month. If you'd like to participate, you email me to reserve a spot for the meetings you want to join. Then, a few days before the scheduled happy hour tea time, I send a Zoom invitation to you. At the scheduled time, you just click on the link provided and follow the instructions your computer, tablet, or phone gives and join the happy hour tea time conversation. With our new Zoom account, we have the option of breaking into smaller groups, so our conversation can be manageable regardless of the number of people who sign up. The format for the discussion varies depending on the conversation topic of the day. Sometimes our topics are serious, sometimes a bit frivolous. Sometimes they surprise us with the responses we would not have predicted. Some of our favorite conversation starters have included good advice I would give my teenage self if such a thing were possible. Favorite movie comedies and dramas. And one of the most interesting of all, a place I loved to go as a child. If you haven't participated in this new way of getting together and getting to know each other, perhaps you'll give us a try. An invitation to sign up for September conversations should have landed in your mailbox on August 25th. Or email me or information on our UWC website. I hope you'll find a conversation you'd like to join.
Thank you, Kathy. Kathleen Peterson will now tell us about another UWC tradition, the Margaret Willard Award.
Yeah, thanks, Janet. The Margaret Willard Award is an award named after the first president of the Women's Club and is presented annually to a woman who's enhanced the quality of life for women in Boulder and or on the CU Boulder campus, is an exceptional role model and has brought honor to all women through her accomplishments. The first MWA award went to CU graduate students, faculty, and those working for the university who are rising in their field of endeavor and deserved recognition. More recently, UWC began to welcome nominees from the wider community. So that's one of the reasons I'm talking to you today. I am soliciting nominations for this award. There are hundreds of women out there who could fit the criteria. Look around and find that special woman and then nominate her so that we can celebrate her while honoring Margaret Willard. When making a nomination, please send your nominating letter along with 2 supporting letters and a brief resume to my email at kathleenpg333@gmail.com, or you can also send me a letter or notification. We would love to have lots of nominations because there are a lot of women out there who deserve to be recognized for all that they have done in their careers and for CU Boulder and the Boulder community. Please look around. Please think about nominating. We can use lots of support, and we can also support all these women who have worked very hard most of their lives to celebrate, and we can celebrate and honor her. Thank you for thinking about it, and I would appreciate every nomination I can get. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Norma Portnoy has some final thoughts regarding the value of membership in UWC this year more than ever. Norma.
Hi, thank you, Janet, and hi, everyone. So during this membership event, you heard from one of our inspiring scholarship recipients. You learned about the stimulating lectures we're going to provide this year, and you learned about our fun interest groups and TeatTime happy hours. So we are going to have a really good year. As with every year, UWC needs to recruit new members to fulfill our mission and thrive as an organization. And there is no one better than our current members to bring new women into the fold. So we're asking for your help to recruit members. This is the perfect time to try UWC out. Many women in our community are unable to participate in typical in-person activities due to the pandemic. This has resulted in many people looking for new ways to become engaged or re-engaged in the world, learn something new, help others, and get to know vibrant, community-minded women. So you will do other people a favor by sharing UWC with them. Another good reason is that all the lectures are free this year. So for new recruits, it's a good time to try us out. So what we need from you is very, very little of your time. First, I would recommend you literally take a pen and paper and write a list of women in your network. You could think about your friends, family members, neighbors, past and present coworkers, workout buddies that you used to have, fellow congregants, and women you know from other groups. And the second step would be turning that into an email about UWC. About 2 weeks ago, we sent out a recruitment email, basically saying the same message I'm saying right now. And in that email is a draft email. You can take that and personalize it and send that to the people that you want to. So all of the work is basically done for you. Now, just as a note, in that draft email, it suggests that your readers listen to the membership event that you're participating in at this moment. So you would want to delete that. You could just refer them to the UWC website. In a couple of days, a recording of this membership event will be on the website, so they can just watch the whole thing. And then use any information that you see on the website to promote UWC to people. So we, the board, want to thank you in advance for any efforts that you can pursue that will help with recruitment for UWC. Thank you so much, and back to you, Janet.
Thank you, Norma. This is the conclusion of our formal presentation. We are going to bring all of our speakers back on the screen, and we'll turn to questions now. And Lynn Barnett will be our facilitator of questions.
You bet. Okay, can you see everybody? Let me move this over. This group is so fun, listening to all of you, all the activities that we do, but what really came out is how all of the groups just love each other. They get together, they love to talk, and what fun that is. And so, but today we have almost 60 people, 70 people here, and it made me think of when we were at the UMC and a hot day, hot afternoon with our coffee and tea, and they had those best bars. I don't know about you, but I always ordered those bars to eat that were just my favorite. And so not this year, but another time. Okay, so here are some questions from you. Has there been any follow-up with this year's scholarship winners to see if they need additional emergency help in order to get back to school this fall? Who wants to answer that question?
Well,
Marge?
I suppose I am probably the person to do that. And the answer is that we have not followed up as far as additional emergency funding. And I suppose one of the reasons for that is that we do have a certain amount of funds available for scholarships, which has been expended. So that is the situation with that. But thank you for thinking about that and realizing that for this coming up year, let me take another little chance to to plug donations for the coming up year, because you are pointing to an important idea that many people may be even more in need of funds. And so our donations this year may be particularly important. So hopefully everyone can keep that in mind. As I said before, as you are saving on your dining out and your traveling budgets, think about, as this member pointed out, that there may be others who are really very much in need of some extra funds.
Good thinking, Marge. Let's hope more money comes in for those students that need it.
Right.
Here's one. If you are signed up for an interest group from last year, are you still on the list or do you need to sign up again? Would that be you, Helen?
I think so. And yes, you're still on the list. You don't need to sign up again. The only thing you need to do, which I forgot to mention, is you have to pay your dues by October 15th to stay in an interest group. So if you were in a group last year, you're in that group again this year.
Is there a reminder that goes out to people to pay their dues by October 15th? Do you know?
I always ask each of the interest group chairs to remind their group members to do that in the email they would send out about their September and October activities, and then also at their meetings.
Great. Okay, the question is how many participants are on this webinar? It went up to 68, I think. And I can't imagine why, but a couple people have dropped out, but nevertheless, we still have over 60 people watching us, so we'll try and look good. Okay, if anybody else would like to type in a question, I am happy to read that. Anybody else on the panel have anything they'd like to say before? Because there are no other questions, surprisingly. I hope those people watching that it went smoothly and that you felt comfortable watching this today. Anybody else?
I forgot to say that we could start a new beginner Spanish group if there's interest. So just contact me via the information on messages or the website.
There are a couple people raised their hand. Let's see if I can get that. Let's see, where do we find that, Mary? When they raise...
I'll do it. So
Will you?
Mary
Thank you.
Headley has her hand raised. I'm going to ask her to talk, okay?
Yeah, I just joined in and I was looking at questions, and the reason you're not seeing questions is chat is disabled.
It's Q&A.
We disabled chat and we've asked everyone to ask questions versus via the QA.
Right.
So if you just logged in, you probably missed that part early on when we asked people to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, and now Zdenka Smith can talk. Zdenka, you need to unmute yourself.
Unmute.
There, you're good.
Many thanks. Well, hello everybody, but said no questions.
Okay.
I do see this is Norma. I do see a question. How do we pay our membership dues this year? For instance, PayPal and in alignment with that, someone asked that she's a new member. Do I need to set up an account with a password? So
I can
someone
answer
speak to that?
Sure. Paying your dues is really easy. When you go online and fill out the membership information form and click submit, you will then be directed to a PayPal platform. But on that PayPal platform, you can pay by a credit card. So when you are directed to payment, you don't need to have a PayPal account. You don't need a password. You can just edit your credit card information. PayPal is the vehicle that's allowing us to accept credit card information, but you don't need an account to do it. And I would say if you have any questions about payment, contact the membership chair, Karen Neff, and she can help walk you through it.
I hope we answered the question from the new member. Cassandra, we're so happy to have you as a new member, and you ask if you need to set up an account. I hope that was clear from Mary's answer that you do not need to set up anything, just pay your dues and you'll be a member.
And actually then there's one more question. Can you still pay by check? Absolutely. And what we're asking this year is that if you want to pay by check, you still go online, fill out your membership information, click submit, and then when you get to PayPal, just ignore that. You will get an email thanking you for submitting your information, and you can either print out that email and send it with a check to the membership chair, or you can just send your check to the membership chair. The instructions for doing that are on the form that you fill out online.
No, Mary, Catherine Wardell said to remind the membership link for sign up. Can you tell us about, did you talk about that membership link yet for sign up?
No, thank you. If you go to the UWC homepage, boulderuwc.org, there is a large green button on the right-hand side of the homepage for joining UWC or paying your dues. So we've tried, there actually are several links for doing both of those things spread out throughout the website, but that's probably the easiest one to access.
And Annie asked, has a September newsletter gone out?
The September newsletter went out in August. So the next newsletter, which will be the October newsletter, will go out probably around September 20th. Our deadline for putting things into the newsletter is September 10th. That's in 2 days. And after that deadline, we scramble very fast to put everything together, get it proofread and ready to send out. And if you want to see the last issue of messages, again, go to the website, click on messages, and you'll see the September issue.
Maybe you noticed that this year's website is incredibly, amazingly new and easy to go through and set up. So those of us who aren't that used to it can get through it really well. And thanks to Mary and other people who really helped with that. Arlene reminds us that if we're sending a check, don't send your check to the scholarship, to the membership chairman, but send it to our P.O. box. P.O. box would be important for checks. Let me see if there are any other comments. Isabel. Let's see, I'm going to read this, Isabel. Would there be a way to have guests at a virtual lecture luncheons as we used to, maybe by paying a contribution? In other words, at the lecture luncheons, could we invite guests to be online for register for the luncheon? What's the answer, my friends? Yes.
Yeah, right.
Mary,
Why not?
Please elaborate a little more, Mary.
Well, when you register for a luncheon, in contrast to the past, the registration will be much like you registered today for the membership event. The registration will be through Zoom. We will be monitoring those who register to make sure that they are UWC members. So if you want to bring a guest, I think probably the best answer is send an email to our registration manager, who's Lynn, and then we'll of course welcome guests. And I think, you know, the board hasn't even considered this. Well, I say this is all new for all of us. So But probably there will be some policy, like, somebody can come as a guest for a couple of times, or maybe there'll be some other mechanism. But I think especially now, we want to be as inclusive as we possibly can.
Yes,
Well said,
when the board meets the next time, which will be the first Tuesday in October, I will put this item on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'd say look for your messages, which will come out soon after that first Tuesday in October, and there will be instructions. Don't know what they'll be yet, but they'll be there.
For our first program. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about the programs this year. One, I didn't have to plan them. And number two, they look spectacular. I can't wait to see about your brain on art. I gotta wait. And the other thing is, if we happen to travel somewhere, we can even look at these things from New York or wherever we are, because we can just get online and see the programs from home. So let's see, does anyone else have a comment? Go ahead, Mary.
There's one other thing to mention. All of our programs, as with this meeting, will be available afterwards as well. So
nice.
we are actually going to get a lovely library of interesting presentations.
Cool.
And those will, as the programs themselves, they will be available for members to view.
Nice. That's all I've got. Janet, back to you.
All right. Well, I think this has been a wonderful session. I want to thank everyone who was a speaker for their contribution, and I want to thank those who attended. Without the participants, we would just be all up here talking to ourselves. So I hereby adjourn the session, and thank you so much again for participating. It was great.
Thanks for organizing.
Thank you.
Adios.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.